Hi there guys, Sam here. Yeah, you join me in the Golf R, and just to go over a little bit around tyres. So this is actually off one of my subscribers or someone who commented on my channel and who asked a little bit about the tyre condition, the wear of the tyres. And obviously my car is now around sort of 13,500 miles. Yeah, pretty much all of those miles were from me. So I kind of know how the condition is, and yeah, I can hopefully give you some advice on that. And I've got a little bit of information on my service video around that, but this is just more specifically around tyres. But just before then, I just wanted to do a quick update just on the engine coolant. So it's been about a week since it was topped up, and I've kept an eye on it. Now this little clip here is actually, the car's been sitting for about 2 days. I've actually been cycling and stuff like that to work, so that's on a rare, as cold engine as it's been. The coolant level is fine. I don't think it's dropped at all. I think it's looking good. I haven't seen any leaks, haven't seen any problems. But I should stress on that, I've got a nice technician's report on 2,000 miles ago, and it basically says they check the coolant level under the bonnet, all the condition, all that kind of stuff. They never flagged anything that the coolant level had any problems or was below a certain level, which worries me a little bit because that was only 2 months ago. So I'm going to keep an eye on it. So I'm hoping, as stupid as it sounds, even though they took my hard-earned money, that it's just the case that the guy, it was a little bit low, and the guy, or whoever checked it, just didn't flag it on the report. In which case it's kind of normal. But if it was a case that it was very high, I really need to keep an eye on it in case it goes down, and I'll push it back to VW. But that's all fine. Anyway, moving on to that and going specifically onto tyres. So obviously going back to the kind of service I had before, I got a good overview of kind of the exact tread depth of my tyres. Dealers aren't always great. They tend to do the worst case scenario on the tyre, which is how you should measure it, to be fair. And I'll do a video just kind of showing what the tyres are like at the moment. So the rear tyres, which you should know as it's a four-wheel drive car, the rear tyres will actually wear slightly more than, say, your normal front-wheel drive car, certainly a front-wheel drive car that I've always owned before this. Which I actually think is a good thing because it shares the wear a little bit better from front to rear. It hopefully is going to give me an opportunity that I can change all four at once without being so stupid in terms of, you know, just wasting my money when there's plenty of tread on the rear. As it turns out, the rear tyres are really, really good. In fact, yeah, they're around 6 mil, sort of in the middle and sort of in the inner as well. It's 6 mil for that. The outer is actually 5 mil, which is really, really good, and that's after 11,000 miles. I do keep my eye on it. I'll run my finger on it. I'll do 20p. I'll test it basically to see if there's any major issues. There are no problems with these tyres. They have got thousands of miles left. In fact, based on that kind of wear, I'll probably get myself up to, again, it all depends how you drive the car at the end of the day, but I'll probably look to get myself up to about sort of 16, 17, 18,000 miles, and I'll check them all again, and I'll kind of judge it from there, fronts and rear, and see where I'm at. But to be honest, based on that, there's no reason why they can't get to sort of 20,000 miles without actually needing replacing, which is actually better wear than I've had in a front-wheel drive car, as I'll go on to the front tyres. So I'll let you know. So when I picked up this car on about 1,400 miles, a bit less than that actually, it was a dealer-owned car. The dealer had owned it for 3 months. They'd put about 500 miles on it a month, just poodling around or whatever it was. And they were quite honest with me, and they said the front left has actually been replaced. The tyre was replaced just under 1,000 miles. Well, I don't know what his reason was. A car came out in front of him and he swerved into a curb. So he basically shredded the tyre. Yeah, I know, it sounds great, doesn't it? No damage to the alloy, although that alloy now does have damage. And as a result, it was changed. So luckily it was changed early on, but that is why there is a difference in wear, slight difference in wear. So essentially it's 5 mil across the board for the front right tyre, and it's 5 mil middle and inner for the front left, 4 mil on the outer. I would kind of do my own little tests and gauge it as well, and at the end of the day, when you do a service, the dealer, all they're going to want you to do is take one of their tyres and change it. So they're always going to do worst case scenario. They will find the worst bit. Again, it's fine, but listen, they're at a very good, healthy state, and actually not, they're about a mil off the rears. So based on that kind of wear, obviously the fronts are going to go before the rears. Hopefully it's going to be quite soon together, because I'd very much like to probably change the brand of the tyre. The tyres on this car, Bridgestone Potenzas, on this 18-inch Cadiz wheels, and I had the same sort of Bridgestone tyres on my Fiesta ST, and I swapped them out for some Continental Sport Contact 5s, and then I swapped them out again for some premium Contact 6s, again Continentals. And what I noticed was that the comfort level improved massively, and that was just the front tyres I was changing it, and honestly it made a huge difference. I don't think the Potenzas are particularly a good tyre for comfort, and if you check the ratings as well, which I'll bring up on the screen, they're not that great on fuel efficiency. They're not that great on sort of like decibel noises, all the kind of stuff they get tested on as well. What they are fun for is they're actually quite a lot of fun to chuck it around. I definitely found the Fiesta was a little bit more nimble and a little bit more chuckable in those tyres. Obviously for the Golf, I can't really say any sort of comparability because I've only had it on the Bridgestone Potenzas. But what I would like to do is, once the tyres eventually go, which as I've said before, we've got plenty of miles left, I'd probably want to swap them out for some PS4s, so some Pilot Sport 4s, which you can get on the 18-inch wheel. They should I've read some fantastic reviews and seen some cracking videos on YouTube as well, and they've sort of said they're a very good tyre to have. And actually on an 18-inch wheel, it has that good balance between comfort and firmness. They're actually better rated on fuel, and again I'll put it up on the screen of what it's kind of rated at, but that's kind of what my plan would be with the tyres, and what you can expect, what tyre you kind of can expect if you have a Golf R with an 18-inch wheel. It's Bridgestone Potenzas. So if you're getting a Golf R used or whatever, you should know that if you're getting the 18-inch Cadiz wheels, Bridgestone Potenzas are what were on them, and you should keep an eye out to see that is kind of represented across both axles. Basically, you can kind of, this is just my opinion, on a front wheel drive car you can kind of get away with having a mismatch. The rears on my Fiesta ST they're just ridiculously healthy. I think at 40,000 miles they still had about 5 mil left on them, so there was never any reason to change those tyres. Whereas the fronts, they take all the wear, they take that 200 brake horsepower, blah blah blah, and every sort of 18,000 miles I was pretty much regularly changing them. And essentially I was changing it for a different brand, but I never had any sort of issues around that. With the Golf R, if I was to change the fronts on their own and it was to be a different manufacturer, I don't know, it's a performance car. Again, happy to know your guys' opinion as well. I'd want all 4 tyres to be the same manufacturer and hopefully similar wear as well. It might mean I might have a bigger bill, although you can get some decent discounts if you get all 4 tyres at once. I personally like Black Circles. They've been really, really good. You just go up to a random garage and you tend to get a good price. They'll balance it, they'll do everything. And sometimes as well, if you get 4 tyres as well, they'll be like, you get 4, you get 25% off or something like that. So it kind of works out better. And that's probably what I'll be doing with tyres in the future. But I should stress, probably should have said this at the start, whatever car you have, tyres are so important. I cannot stress that enough. I really can't. Whether you've got a Golf R, whether you've got a Nissan Micra, tyres are everything. It's your contact patch to the ground. It's everything to a car. I know it might be stating the obvious, but it is really, really important to get it right. And particularly if you've got a car like this, really focus on the tyre sort of aspect. It really is important. And make sure you do your checks as well. I've done a lot of tests. I like the PS4s, and okay, I've heard really great things about the Pilot Sport 4S's, but unfortunately they're only available on a 19-inch wheel, and also not as good in the wear as the 4s. And as I've said many a time before, it rains a lot in this country, and yeah, I think they're a good tyre. And I've actually seen them on. There was a good, again going back to Golf R videos, there's a good Golf R video, someone who tuned it to about 600 brake horsepower, and obviously you can get so much out of this engine, and he had 18-inch Cadiz wheels and he actually had PS4s on them, and that kind of gives me the confidence to say, well, you know what, other people are kind of going for this as well. I've read a lot about them, and I really want to give them a go actually, but unfortunately, saved me a bit of money actually. Tyre wear is absolutely fine, which is great to hear, and it can be a hefty cost. You know, you don't want to get slammed with, you know, 2 front tyres. You're generally sort of looking around £200, and obviously if you're setting all for £400, particularly if you're buying this car and you don't necessarily own it now, you know, a dealer might put on a new tyre which is mismatched. It's mismatched wear, it's not a very good brand, it might be only a sort of £60–70 tyre, which anyone can do, and obviously it'll fob you off, kind of like, oh yeah, well it's got loads of tread on it, and they focus on the tread part, but realistically, if it's not a good tyre, if it's not good construction, it's not a good manufacturer, and if it doesn't match the others, you know, you may as well not even have it. Honestly, it's don't get fooled on that side. So I kind of wanted to make this video all around about tyres. Obviously there's not too much else to say. You've got to make sure, as I said before, the tyre pressures, you can reset that. It's got a tyre pressure monitoring system so you can check it. Personally, I've never had to use it, I just check it myself every now and then. And if you keep the pressures right, it doesn't do any harm to the wear, actually helps your fuel efficiency as well. Yeah, so I think that's most of it. Hopefully it's kind of giving you an insight. It is all about how you drive the car. You know, don't get me wrong, you can see people take my Fiesta ST that I've had previously before this. You know, if you rag that thing around, which people unfortunately do, which is a shame because it's such a great car that I think they should be treated better, you can get through your fronts in about 4,000 miles. You know, I got through mine in 18,000 miles. I took a little bit more care. So it's the same with the Golf R. If you rag this thing around and push it, you know, really, really hard, expect the tyres to be far less than potentially mine are. But if you don't, and you know, don't get me wrong, I have fun in the car. You know, I do push it every now and then and have a bit of fun. But you know, on day-to-day journeys, you know, you can only go so fast in traffic and stuff like that. And I'm not, you know, I'm not one to keep pushing it, if that makes sense. You know, you can really damage a tyre if you overdo it. You know, once the tyre gets hot, you know, if you keep pushing it, it's just going to rip apart and cause issues. Also, if you're ever going to take a car on track, yeah, you got to budget for tyres really, because that is what's going to happen. You're going to be pushing it around, you're going to be pushing it hard, and you're going to consistently push it hard, and that's going to reduce the wear on the tyre, or more important, or worse, cause a bit of flat spotting or some sort of tear or something bad, which will mean you'll have to replace the tyre. Obviously I've never tracked the car, so that's not a problem on my side. But for people who are watching this video who want to know a bit about tyres, about their Golf R, you've got nothing to worry about. It may have 300 brake horsepower, but honestly, it's absolutely fine. I really do think the 4-wheel drive system helps out so much, and I know a few of my subscribers, I think they have like Golf GTDs and GTIs even. I would hazard a guess that they're replacing the fronts more on those GTIs than they would on the 4-wheel drive Golf R. Yeah, you know, you've got all the power going to the front wheels. It never has a brake. It's doing the steering, it's doing all the power. Don't get me wrong, this acts as a front-wheel drive car most of the time, but if it is getting too much, it'll just move it to the rear, and I just think that's great. I think it's great for tyre wear. So there you go, you might be gaining a bit more weight and costing yourself fuel, but who knows, it might actually help you a bit more on tyre wear. And I will let you know, because if this does go beyond what my Fiesta ST is, which is 100 brake horsepower less, I think that's pretty cool. So 4-wheel drive, don't worry that you're going to lose all your tyres basically. And I've heard good things as well about other hyper hatches with 4-wheel drive systems. The tyres will last. They're, you know, particularly on these types of car, they tend to have good quality tyres anyway. Yeah, it's really, really good. Anyway, I don't want to go on for too much longer. Hopefully, particularly the beginning part helped out quite a lot on how much it gets worn. Yeah, I would, you know, keep an eye on your own tyres and bits like that, and hopefully this has helped out a lot. But you know, thanks, you know, so much for the likes, the subscribers. You know, certainly last month was really good in terms of people viewing my channel and subscribing to the channel, so you know, thanks ever so much for that. You know, it does mean a lot. And you know, stay tuned for more information on my Golf R. You know, if you are new to the channel, that's what this channel is about. It's generally about my ownership experience. It's my only car. You know, it's a fantastic car to have, and it's you know, it's kind of like a long-termer, put it that way. You know, you can find out every sort of little bit about it, and you know, I spend a lot of time on it, a lot of time commuting, and yeah, pretty much doing everything possible that you can in it, bar probably going on track, which funny enough there are videos of it on track, so you can probably check out those if that's what you want to do. But yeah, thanks very much for watching. Give it a like if you've enjoyed it. Please subscribe. Please share this out if you think it will be useful to anyone. You know, if they're looking at a Golf R, I would very much recommend my channel just to check out there. You know, you might not find every single video to your taste, but there are hopefully some really useful stuff. And I'm also trying to build up a bit of a community as well. So, you know, if you comment, I'll certainly do my best to reply. There's other people who are subscribed to my channel who will also reply as well, which I'm thankful for as well. And it just kind of helps everyone out. But so yeah, thanks very much for watching, and I will see you again next time. Cheers, guys.